So, good morning everyone, sorry for the delay, there was just a small technical issue with the microphone, but we're back on track now, part of the fun. So good morning and welcome to the Swanage Railway for what is this momentous occasion. Obviously, if you don't know, my name's Nathan, I'm the chair of the 563 Locomotive Group, and I'm delighted to see so many of you join us today as we make history and celebrate the long-awaited return of 563 to steam. So first and foremost, I'd obviously like to start by saying thank you to each and every one of you for your contribution. You all make this possible, and the overwhelming support has actually overcome a lot of adversities, and we've made amazing progress. And looking back, while the project seemed relatively short, a brand new inner firebox and girder stays is no mean feat for any overhaul, let alone the restoration of the tender and the engine, paintwork and the finishing touches that brought the whole thing together. So I'd like to acknowledge and say thank you to our volunteers, staff, contractors and suppliers. This really is a testament to your own individual set of skills, and thanks to your involvement, we have a first-class flagship to show off and showcase to the whole country and the world. Now, unfortunately, not everyone could be here to witness this moment, and I would just like to take a moment to highlight the late Alan Moore in particular. His involvement and support of the project from the early days, he bought into our vision and allowed us to begin the assessment at the flour mill. Of course, further assistance then followed from others, and although they sadly can't be here to see this achievement today, they have left us a legacy which we shall remember them by and be forever grateful. So please spare a thought for those absent friends and family. But last, and by no means least, I would like to give a shout out to the 563 Locomotive Group team, Matt, Steve, Will, Nick. Teamwork really being the optimum word here. We're a close-knit and I think passionate bunch with our own individual experiences that have made this a success. It's been a real pleasure to work with a fine bunch of gentlemen. I don't know where Will's gone. And, thank you to both them and their partners for allowing us to do this. Now, before you all take your seats and become the next generation of passengers to travel behind the T3 for the first time in 78 years, since 563 was withdrawn in 1945, we're first going to hear from a few guest speakers, and I'd first like to introduce our Swanage Railway Trust Chairman, Gavin Johns, to start off with.
Louder.
Okay. Well, I'd like to just echo Nathan's thoughts there, welcoming you all to the Swanage Railway today on behalf of the Swanage Railway Trust. Great to see so many faces. Is that better? Yes. I was just saying, it's really great to welcome you to Swanage Railway today. It's a lovely, fine, sunny day, and we've got a fabulous treat for you in this locomotive that, as Nathan has said, has been a long-held project amongst the team itself, and we're really grateful to them for the work they've done spearheading this. But of course it wouldn't have happened were it not for the fact that the National Railway Museum decided to gift the locomotive to the railway. We're really grateful for that. It would not have happened if it were not for the donors who signed up to the vision that the team created for bringing this locomotive back to life. And it would not have happened were it not for Bill at the flour mill and the work that his team has done to actually recreate the locomotive and enable us to bring it back to state. So the Trust and the Railway are really proud of the locomotive that we can see today, which is an elegant example of Victorian engineering and is a joy to behold. And I think as the nation starts to plan for celebrating the 200th anniversary of railways in 2 years' time, she's going to play a really big part in that. So I'm really more than happy to invite you to take part in today, and I hope you really enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Alan. Next it is with great pleasure to introduce His Majesty's Lord Lieutenant of Dorset, Mr. Angus Campbell.
I think I have to do about the parade ground shout when you're looking into these things. But I know that the royal family, and particularly the Duke of Gloucester, very much approve of me being here today. I remember he came here last time on the other train when you were presented with your King's Award, Queen's Award for voluntary service. Well deserved. But I find this fantastic. I think trains have to be female. I know they've got Thomas the Tank Engine and Henry and things in the children's book, but this elegant beast has got to be female. And I would call her she. She hasn't got a name. I know she's a T-class. So there we are. But I think the organisation here is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's great to see all the people around here. Been going for over 50 years, I think, and achieved so much, relaying the entire track. This gorgeous machine here did 1.5 million. No, was it 1.5 million? Yeah, 1.5 million miles of work before it was even put into storage to come back to you. And you've managed to raise almost £700,000 and put in the work to sort it out and turn it into this beautiful beast. It was going to be turned into scrap metal in 1948. That was the year before I was born, and thank goodness it wasn't. It's the only remaining one, and it just looks beautiful. I've seen the photographs as you've done your trials, etc., etc. Now this sort of thing doesn't happen without huge determination, stick-to-itiveness, dedication of a huge number of individuals. I know I've spoken to some of them today, but this goes broadly right across Swanage and the people who support the railway, and they go right across the country, I understand. So I am very privileged to be here. I know the royal family, all of them, will be pleased that I'm here supporting, and I'm really looking forward to today. So well done.
Now, it's been 6 years since the National Railway Museum transferred 563 to us back in 2017. So we're delighted to welcome back Senior Curator Anthony Cools.
Well, good morning everybody, and thank you. I shall attempt to shout into this lollipop that Nathan has given me, and I hope that you can all hear. What a splendid day this is, and how fantastic to see so many people entering into the spirit, dressing for the occasion, for a Victorian engine. I'm afraid I have not risen to the occasion, but I do have my T3 tie on today. So next time you hear someone say there are no enthusiasts at the NRM, that's because I'm here. So, heritage preservation is built on wouldn't it be nices. Wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be a great idea if? And the T3, I have to say, began as a wouldn't it be nice. Now, in the crowd today is a very dear family friend of ours, a gentleman called Ian Cohn, who is a volunteer at this railway, and Ian has known our family for many years. 20 years ago, I gave Ian a behind-the-scenes tour of locomotion in Shildon, and this engine was in the museum, and Ian said to me, he said, you know, wouldn't it be nice if we saw the T3 at Swanage? And I said, no, Ian, it'll never happen because, you know, the money that we could spend going into that, we could digitise all these plans and drawings and photographs and make a legacy. But fast forward a few years, and the National Railway Museum, senior curator that I am, we undertook a collections review. Museum collections are not static. Things come, things go, some things stay forever. And the T3 came under our spotlight for review. And we thought, actually, wouldn't it be nice? And the stars aligned. Now, people questioned our judgment on that decision to transfer the engine to the railway here. But I think it's fair to say that if we had not transferred the loco, we would not see the glorious sight that we have behind us, in front of us, and be riding behind it today. We acted with integrity. The Swanage Railway Trust took on that integrity, and they have delivered the most beautiful engine. We have all learned through the process, because through the research that Nathan, Matt and the team have done, they understand more about the engine's history, through the work that was very carefully done at the flour mill by Bill and Jeff and their team, especially with the recreation of the firebox. We're looking at skills retention, we're looking at new generations understanding locomotive engineering, and if that's not what the National Railway Museum, the Swanage Railway Trust is about, then I don't know what it is. I think it's fair to say that had the engine not been transferred in 2017, we'd be doing something else today. We'd probably at the Great Central Railway Gala or Festiniog Railway. But it is marvellous to have shared the journey at a distance with the team here, to see the quality of work. And when you get 5 minutes with this engine, do have a look at the paintwork. The crest, hand painted by Phil Anderson, the sign writer. I don't know if you're here today, Phil, but perhaps, you know, Renoir, in 10, 15, 20 years ago, they will be talking about an Anderson piece of work. I'm conscious there are other people to speak and that the train needs to go shortly, so I'll wrap it up. But I have a maxim our National Collection as the senior curator of the right thing in the right place at the right time. Now, we are no longer custodians of the engine, it belongs to the Trust, but I do solemnly believe and say to you all that this is exactly the right engine in the right place at the right time. Congratulations to you all.
It's very nearly time for me to introduce 563 to service. So to say a few words and do the honours, it's time to invite our president of the 563 Locomotive Group, Sir Philip Williams.
Thank you very much, Nathan. I don't know if this is working or not. Before I came today, I had composed what I thought was a little speech. Frankly, everyone who needs to be thanked has now been thanked 4 times, so I'll eliminate that paragraph, except to say you all deserve thanks. The Trust for taking the engine on, the volunteers and staff here for working on it, Bill Parker and his team in the Forest of Dean, the people who've worked on the tender at Hurston. It really is worthy of all the thanks and congratulations you've had. Now, I feel a bit of a fraud standing here, so I'm just going to concentrate on 2 years in history. 1893 this engine emerged from the works, and that was the year, or the year after, my great-grandfather, Noah and Maya's great-great-great-grandfather, became a director of the London and South Western. So for all I know, he, my great-grandfather, sat at the board meeting and took part in the decision which said, we could do with another few of these lovely engines of yours, Mr. Adams. Can we have another batch? This is part of the result. So that's 1893 when this engine began. Now there is another critical year. There is one person who has not been thanked today, and frankly I don't think he is very often thanked by a Brit, and that is the late Herr Adolf Hitler. I'm pretty sure that if Mr. Hitler had not started the war in 1939, this engine would have gone to the scrapyard together with the other last 2 that survived, unlamented, 3 more surplus engines. But, of course, in wartime, if you've got an engine that puffs, you keep it. You never know what you're going to need. So Mr. Hitler saw it through till 1945. The Southern Railway then, very foresightedly, thought we're going to need a vintage engine in 3 years' time to celebrate the centenary of Waterloo Station. So the Southern Railway laid it up, and in 1948 it effectively entered preservation. I'm not sure if anyone's made the specific point, but the 75 years between then and now is by far the longest gap between withdrawal and a new life that any locomotive has had. So I think that's my little piece. It's slightly different. I will say thank you again. We're in for a fantastic day. Oh, there is one more thing. When Gavin asked me to speak, he did say, would I bring something along, a particular thing. Now, I should have been at Corfe Castle 6 years ago, when number 563 was first on show. I was coming down from London that day, not our home in West Dorset. It was my first experience of a smart motorway, and I arrived in Swanage, Corfe Castle, 2 hours late. Therefore, I was unable to show the members of the Adams family and all the others there this book, Historical Steam Locomotives by O.S. Nock, an indefatigable chronicler of railways. Historical steam locomotives, and there is number 563 on the front cover. So today is the day, historical still, but part of the future as well. And I'm told that it is me that has the enormous honour of cutting the ribbon to effectively launch her, so I will adapt the words of launching a ship May God bless her, and all who work with her, and all who travel behind her. Angus, yes, railway engines are always feminine, even if they've got the name of King George V. It sounds idiosyncratic, but it just comes naturally to railway folk, and people talk about ships as well. Anyway, if somebody will provide a pair of blunt scissors, I'll do my best to work on the ribbon. So, thank you all for coming, and here we go.
Here's the 563. Hip hip! Right, thank you, Philip. And on a final note, thank you, I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart to all of you for your help and support. Obviously, the 563 Locomotive Group will be around throughout the day. Enjoy it, it's your day. And we also have directors from the Trust and Company as well to have a chat with us. And on a final note, the future is looking very exciting indeed. As you may have seen in the railway press, we are taking on the overhaul of T9 and bringing it under the umbrella of the 563 Locomotive Group. We are hoping to replicate our success with 563 and add yet another unique NSWR icon to our stable. We are currently making plans with the NRM and in discussions about moving our agreement from a storage agreement to an overhaul agreement in the meantime. So we've no doubt we'll attract new supporters and more donations will be forthcoming as we look forward and, well, not only continue looking after 563, but also managing 120 and eventually seeing the pair together in Walsall Olive Green too. Right. Those are tantalising prospects. And on a final note, with some flowers for Lady Catherine as well. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.
Good job.
Don't really do off the cuff normally, but yeah, that's all right. Yeah, it is.